things that I've bought over the course of my life that I look back on and I'm like, man, I'm so glad I bought that. They're not the most rare, cool, coveted items, right? It's not like a cool watch that I wear all the time. There's something else about them. I've got all of my favorite purchases here behind this little thing. I hope you appreciate that. It's like, they're like characters you haven't unlocked yet, but we're gonna unlock them. So first off, there was a time when everybody wanted an Xbox One. It was a next-gen console. I saved for months to get this thing, and finally around Christmas time, I was able to get it with a little help from my family. They were $500, which is so much money for a kid my age. I was probably 14, 15 when the Xbox One came out. And I was one of the only people in my class that had one, but I didn't really like it that much. I didn't play it that much. And I found myself still playing like my Wii. I had a modded version of Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Stick with me. This is not just about video games, but they announced a new Super Smash Bros. Game. It was only on the Wii U console, which no one cared about.
It's different,
but that was just so much more exciting to me. And it wasn't the cool thing. Nobody thought Wii U's were cool. You might not even know what that is. But I traded in my Xbox One for a Wii U, and everybody in my class thought I was crazy. Like, when I showed up, they were like, "What are you doing? You're so dumb." And when Super Smash Bros. Came out, I went to the store, I stayed up all night, and I got so much enjoyment out of that game. I had my friends over, and then one of my friends bought a Wii U too to play this game. And then another one, and another one. And 4 of my friends ended up buying Wii U's, and we played Super Smash Bros. All the time. I went to tournaments, and the point of this story is, I was supposed to get this out. The point of this story is, buy for yourself, not to impress others. That's the first lesson. And you might be surprised when it rubs off on other people. That was a huge moment for me, and we literally spent thousands of hours playing Super Smash Bros. And I don't regret it at all. Those were very, very awesome, fun times with my friends. I don't know where to put this. Maybe I'll put this on my hand too. That'd be kind of funny. Number 2. So, a year or 2 later, I'm coming up on my 16th birthday, and I cannot wait to drive. My grandpa asked me, "Hey, is there any kind of certain car that you're looking for?" I've been working for like a year, saved up maybe $1,200 or something, and I was like, I want a red, like 2-door stick shift. I want to learn how to drive a manual. And he was like, okay, we'll see what we can do. And guess what? He found me one. We went and bought it, $800. Not much money now. It was also not much money then. Got a good deal on it. And here's secret item. You already saw it in the thumbnail. This is actually the key to that car. My grandpa sold it while I was out of town and I still had this key. But this was the key to my 1993 Mazda MX-6. And I drove that thing like you wouldn't believe. I actually got it a couple of months early and learned to drive it with my dad. And the day I turned 16, I got my driver's license and I was off. I didn't realize how much I would drive it, but instantly, every day, I'm just getting in that car, turning it on and driving away. Didn't know where I was gonna go, but I needed that freedom, right? I took that extra responsibility in exchange for freedom, and I would do that again anytime. That's a trade I'm always willing to take. And that's the lesson I learned from my Mazda MX-6, my first car. Buy freedom. If you can buy something that's gonna allow you to do new things you've never done before, even if it costs a little bit more responsibility, do it. It was also just really cool. It was a really fun car. And part of what made it so much fun is that, you know, another year in or so, maybe I'm 16, 17, my friend Isaac got me in his car and he said, "Hey, have you ever heard of subwoofer before?" And I was like, "I don't know." And he turned it on. Time to ride! And it changed my life. I mean, you know, it actually was awesome. I had never heard one before, and I love music. I love aggressive, bass-heavy music, and it was just so much fun. So a little bit later, I started looking around for one, and I bought it off of Craigslist. Item number 3. This is my representation of the subwoofer. I got a 12-inch subwoofer for $60. It did not look like this. It was a Sony Explode, but this is what's gonna represent it for now. But I didn't know how to wire it or set it up. So I hit up Isaac. So he's like, all right, we need a box and we need wires. Got a box off of eBay or something to hold the speaker. And went to mine and got the wires for like 40 bucks. Anyway, we put that thing in, slide it up in the trunk, and that thing shook my car. That's what they do. It's really loud bass. I enjoyed driving my car that much more. I already loved driving, I already drove around all the time, and now it was like so much fun. It was maybe a little bit too hype. It might have made me drive a little bit more recklessly. I was racing around like crazy. But for the price I paid and the experience of installing it with my friend, I got so much enjoyment out of that thing for years until I got rid of that car. I blew out my speakers in the door, but I learned that it's worth it to invest in daily enjoyment. If there's something you're gonna be doing every day and you know that it's gonna make it better, it's gonna make it nicer, it's gonna fill you up, it's worth the investment, especially if it's not even that much money. What's up, party people? Last time I asked you to subscribe, I had 1,307 subscribers. This time I have 1,422. So you kind of pulled through. I was asking for 1,308, got 1,422. If 2 more people subscribe, we will have 1,424. So please go ahead and do that. Thanks. Bye. Fast forward a couple more years. I'm a senior in college. I've been making music, right? I use GarageBand on my phone, just play some instruments, whip some stuff up. And I had a cheap version of Studio One, which is a digital audio workstation, a DAW. And then Isaiah hits me up. My bro, my friend. He says, hey man, Waves is selling this plugin pack. It's really high quality stuff that's gonna make your music production a lot stronger. You're gonna have a lot more choices. It's $100, which is a crazy good deal. You should get it. And I was like, okay. So I go on, but I can't get the plugins unless I have the pro version of Studio One. And that was gonna cost like $300. So it was gonna be more like $400 total. And I had probably $800 in my bank account. I'm a senior in college, I'm working every day, delivery driving. So the money's still coming in. I got enough for rent-ish, but really don't have enough money for this. But you know what I did? I said, you know what? I feel like I need to do this. And that deal was going away. So I bought, not this, but this is a PreSonus MIDI keyboard that came with the old version of Studio One. But this is my representation of me buying Studio One 5 Pro. And that might sound boring, and I don't blame you, but I spent half my money to get this software because I knew it might unlock something for me. I had already been making music before, and I got that software and I used it all the time, and I still use it all the time. I got better at mixing and producing, and I made all kinds of songs and music that I never would have done otherwise. And you know what? Nothing really bad happened from spending that money, right? It was a little bit of a risk, but that's the lesson I learned, is sometimes you gotta put skin in the game, right? If you're serious about something, you gotta ante in. You gotta sacrifice something and say, you know what? I'm serious about this, let's go. And then a couple years later, I have been thinking about finances and about what I wanna do with my life. And I decided in 2023 that this would be my year for self-investment. And that means, yeah, save up some money, put it in smart places, but also you're making some actual money. You have a job now. Take some of that money and invest it in yourself and your ability to do what you want to do with your life, right? And that's what I did. And that started with this MacBook Air, actually, that I'm using as we speak, my notes for this video. Basically, my old computer was a Dell and it was getting kind of old. I got it at the beginning of college and it was just a big pain. It was just super slow. I was editing videos, I was making music on it, ran out of storage. I looked at getting another one of those computers, but long story short, I got the best deal I could, but I got a nice new MacBook Air with 1 terabyte of storage. That should be plenty of hardware for what I want to do, right? I'm doing creative stuff all the time. I'm making videos like this. I'm making music. I just had a feeling that that was a move I needed to make. I didn't know exactly what it would be like to have a Mac, but the lesson I learned was to trust your gut. If you have a feeling, you should choose one thing over another thing, or that it might be time to try something new, whatever it is, follow that instinct. Get the thing that you feel like is the thing you need. That was $1,500, I think, but it was self-investment. It was part of the plan. Also part of the plan was the next thing I got, which is the most expensive thing on this list, and it was part of the same season of self-investment. I knew I wanted to make an album with Isaiah.
Second to last, everyone.
And I've been a drummer for a long time, but I haven't had my own drum kit since I moved out of my parents' house. I also am living in apartments, I'm renting, and that means I gotta kind of keep it quiet. You might know where this is going, but item number 6, I think. These drumsticks, no, just kidding. These represent the Roland TD27 KV2. That's right behind me. It's been here this whole time. I did so much research to figure out what kind of electronic drum kits are good. I didn't know what was good. And this isn't a review of an electronic drum kit, but basically there's a lot of kind of bad stuff, and there's some like kind of okay stuff, and then there's the actually good best stuff. We just have crossed the line where the very best electronic drum kits actually sound pretty good and might actually be usable for really nice sounding recordings for music. So I decided to bite the bullet and get one of the best ones I could possibly get. I think it was like $3,700, which is a lot of money. But the lesson that this taught me was to get serious, right? Kind of a continuation of putting skin in the game. If you're serious about what you're doing, there comes a time where you get the good stuff. You get the thing that's gonna push you the furthest. On top of that, I love playing the drums, and I play them all the time. And it allowed me to practice a lot. Or when Isaiah came over and we were songwriting, and we dragged them all the way to an Airbnb to record an album, which is crazy, but this was perfect for that. And by the way, you can watch us record that album. I made a whole documentary about it, basically. I'm gonna upload it on this channel. I don't know if it's happening right before this or if it'll happen soon, but I'll link it here if it's there. But all this to say, this was really expensive, but the returns that I get from it are well worth it, right? They allow me to pursue something that I love and am interested in and that I wanna get better at. Anyway, you get the point, get serious. And then finally, like I was talking about, I had that old Dell. And that's what I edited videos on. If you go back to some of my earlier videos, you might be able to tell when the switch happened. I think it was around the Healing Footwear You Never Noticed video. I think that was one of my first videos with the new stuff that I haven't talked about yet. But it took me so long to edit videos, and even then it was hard to make them good. It was just a huge struggle. And eventually I bit the bullet and I said, all right, fine. I've never, ever spent money to get a paid software for editing videos. And I have made who knows how many videos. Many videos outside of this channel already. I'm always doing stuff like that. I've made movies. This is the year of self-investment. Maybe we can get item number 7. Not this camera. This is the best I could do, sorry. Final Cut Pro, which is the professional editing software from Apple. It cost like $300. I didn't know exactly what I was gonna get, but I was blown away by the efficiencies that I gained. You hear the audio while you scroll over it. While you scroll over it. Everything responds so fast. You can match up audio to video like instantly. You can mess with the color grading and all this stuff. The point is, it was way better. And I realized instantly how I could utilize all of this stuff to not only make my life easier, but to make my videos better. And I realized then you can earn the good stuff. Like I said, I had already made so many videos. I knew I was going to use it, but if you prove to yourself before you buy something that you're already doing that thing and are gonna continue doing it, then when you get the good stuff, it's huge. You really appreciate it. And when you look at all this stuff, you notice that it's not really the same as some cool item that you wear all the time, right? I like this watch, but wearing it on a day or not doesn't change anything about what I do, right? Everything here is a tool or unlocks something, right? These are things that provide depth and richness to your everyday life. As a minimalist, these are the things that I really appreciate the most and the things that I have learned to focus on spending my money on. So the 3 big takeaways I really would like you to take away from this video are to trust in yourself and what you want and what you want to do with your life. Trust your gut. 2, invest in yourself. Don't just put all your money aside and try to save it up and not do anything risky. Invest in yourself. Invest in you and who you want to be and your ability to become that. And 3rd takeaway, kind of like I was just talking about, buy tools that you can use every day, right? Buy things that change what you do. I bought the car and I was gone. I was driving around all the time. I bought the Wii U, I was playing it all the time, spending time with my friends. I bought the drum kit, I was practicing, I was having fun, I was making music and I was recording an album. I bought this watch and I wore it sometimes, right? See what I'm saying? So that's what I find interesting as I look back on my favorite things I've spent money on over the years. Like I said, I made that documentary about recording the album. If it's out, I'll put it here. But for that, I used the drum kit. I used the editing software. I used all the knowledge I learned from getting Studio One 5 Pro. Everything was put to work with that project and it was really cool. So check that out. Subscribe to the channel.
Let's go right now, right now, right now! Yeah, that's nice. I feel like an animal because of how much caffeine I'm drinking.